My name is Jensine Casey, and I am a pediatric sleep consultant and owner of Baby O&I Consulting. So today is going to be part one of a two-part series all about moving from a crib to a toddler bed. So there's so many questions around moving to a toddler bed. When's the best time? How do you do it? All of that good stuff. So today we're just going to talk about the first piece of it. We're going to talk about when to move to a toddler bed, because you may be thinking that it's time, but if your little one is under 2.5, I don't yet recommend moving to a toddler bed. There's a couple of things that you can do before moving to the toddler bed, and I'll give you the biggest reason why you want to wait. So developmentally, it's not really until 2.5 that children can understand that invisible boundary that a bed creates. In a crib, it's very concrete. There are 4 sides, 4 walls. You have to physically get yourself up and over to be able to leave that crib. But in a bed, there's none of that restraint. It is just wide open. And for some children, that's a lot of freedom and that's a lot of responsibility, and they can feel that. It just feels a little bit too open-ended, a little bit too much space, and they're not quite sure what to do with themselves. So that leads to them feeling really uncertain and really kind of dysregulated. They don't know what to do with themselves in this situation. They know maybe they've been told to stay in the bed, but they're not really sure why they need to stay in the bed. And they're going to seek out that comfort that a crib provided in that small little space by going either to another part of their room or to find you in another part of the house. So before moving to a bed, you're going to want to follow the following things that I'm about to say. There's a couple of different things that even if your child is climbing out of the crib, that you want to try first. So the first one is going to be a sleep sack. If you have moved your child out of a sleep sack, I always recommend sleep sacks from 3 to at least 12 months, because they're not yet able to have a blanket in there with them independently. At 12 months, you can start to use a blanket. It is safe per safe sleep guidelines, but using a sleep sack is really great for those children that are a little bit wild in their sleep and may not be able to keep a blanket on, but B, those more adventurous children that may start to show signs of trying to get out of the crib. If you have an early walker, an early climber, definitely consider keeping them in a sleep sack a little bit longer, because that's also going to translate to when they're in the crib. The sleep sack is going to prevent their legs from being able to spread wide enough to swing one leg over the side of the crib. So that's going to be kind of your first line of defense, is either keeping the sleep sack on or putting them back into a sleep sack. You may also have to put that sleep sack on backwards, so the zipper is in the back if they're a smart little cookie and can unzip it from the front. So first, in a sleep sack, possibly backwards. The second thing you're going to want to do is lower the mattress all the way down to the ground. Depending on your crib, this may or may not work. Once the crib, you just would take that bottom piece off completely and put the mattress all the way onto the ground. Depending on the height of the mattress, the height of the crib, all that good stuff, this may not be possible because you don't want there to be any space between the top of the mattress and the bottom part of the crib. You want that to pretty much line up so no fingers or toes or anything can get stuck in there if they're trying to shimmy their way out. So make sure that there is no space when the mattress is on the floor between the mattress and the bottom of the crib. Third thing to do is think about moving the crib. So depending on your crib, again, this may or may not work, but typically for cribs, there is one side that's the headboard that's a little bit taller than the other side. Usually that taller side is against the wall, and the shorter side is closer to you, so you can easily get them in or out. Consider flipping that crib. So the taller side is now facing out towards the room, and the shorter side is facing the wall. That way, they won't be able to get over that extra height that taller side provides, so they won't be able to climb out of the crib. So those 3 things are going to want to be the steps that you do before you even consider moving your child who is under 2.5 out of your crib. If they are also, little bonus tip, if they are also able to safely maneuver their way out of the crib, I still would keep them in. Only if they're like, it's dangerous. They're trying to get out of the crib. They're falling. They're getting hurt. Things like that. If they motorically are able to just swing their leg and safely get out of the crib, that still may not be a reason to remove them from the crib. You want to keep them in that calm, safe environment as long as you can until they're really able to understand what a bed entails and why we have to stay in our bed. So make sure that you come back and visit for part 2 of how to actually make that transition. Your child has checked all the boxes. You've done all the things. You've kept them in the crib until they are at least 2.5. Now you're ready to make the leap. They're ready to make the leap. We will talk about that in part 2. So make sure you join me for that.